Well, good evening, folks, and we are here again for Fast Break Season 2, Episode 5 tonight. And Ray Halbrook here from Livestream STL. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. We're going to preview our district matchups. Some of them are already in the books. Some teams are already done, and so as we're speaking, we had to start a little bit late. I was dealing with a little bit of some audio issues. We got that fixed now. We're going to bring in the group. So I'm going to bring the group in here real quick. I'm going to stay down the bottom here. To my left, all the way to my left here, that would be Scott. To you guys' right, Scotty, the freak Lotta.
Hola.
We have back from being ill and all that fun stuff there, Jeff Whitener back with us. We appreciate you being with us. He's not even talking. Man, that's scary. You know, he's a professional loudmouth.
He says it all with his eyes.
He says it all, okay. He's trying not to say too much because we know if he opens up his mouth, it could be a long time. That's why he's trying to be disciplined. I get it. We got the Beak here in the middle. How you doing, Beak? Oh, I can turn your mic on.
Man.
There you go. Turn
what
your mic
a great start.
Great start. Great start.
I'm doing so good here, guys, that they can't even let me talk. How about that?
The rookie hazing continues.
That's right.
There it is. So Drake Beekman. And then I've got all the way over to my right, you guys' left there, Mr. Brian Kaplinger. B-Cap, how's it going?
All is good. Just good to be here, hang out with these fine gentlemen.
Awesome.
Us too.
Us too. Yeah, nice. Well, Scotty, I'm going to turn it over to you to get things started, and this should be fun. We're going to, finish some things up here as we roll out of the regular season and into the playoffs.
So I want to give a big shout out to everyone who's followed along. This is obviously episode number 5, season 2 of Fast Break, and we cover Jeffco Vikings, we cover local basketball, and we share a few opinions and make it interesting, or at least we try to. So this episode is called Leap Year because each episode has, kind of like a little calling. So Leap Year, which today is February the 29th, happens every 4 years, kind of like the arc of a basketball player in high school. You get 4 years, and then you move on.
All right. And, the funny thing is I need to fix that. So let me see if that comes up this time.
What's
I gotta fix it. There it is, right there.
There it is.
We're not deleting
It's
it.
appeared.
We're fixing it.
Imagine if you will.
Imagine if you will. There it is. Got it.
There we go. All right. Obviously, we always start the first part with Jeffco Vikings basketball, and we start with the ladies. So, obviously, a very successful year. They finished at, let me see, what does it say here? 18-8. So, gentlemen, we got to see Jacayla Kirk, Dooley Felton, and company have a very strong year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the ladies, they had a very, very strong year. I'm excited to see how it goes in the future, though, because they're only losing 4 sophomores this year. So
I believe you're correct.
Even though the season isn't over, we still got some ball left to be played
I
for.
believe the future is tomorrow.
Yeah, they start their tournament tomorrow. Do we know? I tried to look earlier today. I didn't see a matchup.
Their website isn't always the most user-friendly.
Yes, yeah.
When I looked earlier in the week, they didn't have the matchups set yet, so I don't know. But obviously they start tomorrow, I think. Do the men also start tomorrow as well?
That's correct. Yeah,
Yes.
they're back-to-back, so to speak.
But, I mean, yeah, like I said, there's plenty of ball left to be played for them. I mean, they put up a pretty good fight against Middle Area when they came to town, so I wouldn't be surprised if they make a good run here at this Region 16 tournament. And I hope I'm in the majority on saying that, because they're a lot of fun to watch play.
So you brought up Mineral Area. They ended up winning with a 25-3 record, 8-2 in the league. They beat out Three Rivers and State Fair and North Central College, to throw them in there, North Central Missouri College. All 4 of those programs won 20 or more games. That is tough.
Really tough region. I would tell you this, though. The inroads this year that Coach Walker has made, and we'll talk about the men's stuff because that's special in its own right. But this women's team that he has put together, I've been doing this for 10 years, guys, as far as announcing for the college and, running around with Ray for the last 5-6 years doing sports too for live stream. This is the best women's team at the college that I've seen since I've been there. The they have such a mix of different styles of players. They can beat you on the outside. And Coach Walker, that's his mantra, inside out. He wants to go in. He's got Kirk. He's got Sidney Burris. He's got Bennett on the inside. All of them can go on the inside. Then he's got the outside. He's got the speed with Felton, the shot making ability from the outside, and you can even pull Jacayla out there, and she's got a great 3-point percentage as well. So I just
mixing a little Josie Allen.
Yeah, right. Exactly, a little Josie Allen out there, and Josie is really talking about Josie. She has really improved from being at freshman and having that first game, and having that deer in the headlights look at coming on at the season. By this time of the season, those freshmen aren't freshmen anymore; they're sophomores.
Right.
So looking forward to see what she can do next year. So I'm super, super glad that we had the season that we did for the girls.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that, I mean, obviously you've got the standouts like Jacayla Kirk and those, but really impressed me was just the teamwork together. They've got good depth with a lot of those. You mentioned Bennett, some of those coming off. I know Sidney Burris coming off the bench a lot at the beginning of the year, kind of stepped in there later into that starting lineup. But to me, that's what kind of has impressed me. What CB Walker's done there is really just kind of gel them together in the mix, because you do have a younger team at the core of who they are, but they've got the right sophomores in place. And with Jacayla Kirk being able to really kind of be that staple leader for the team, I think really sets them up well to go into this kind of like tournament, the Region 16 tournament.
Good stuff. We'll talk about the men.
Don't we want to puke up some stats here?
We'll pick up some stats, baby. Let's do it. Hold on. Hold that thought. We're back. I promise.
All right. Nobody move.
Everybody back off.
All right. So Jacayla Kirk was this close to getting 600 points, and according to Ray, the postseason counts towards their current total.
I'm under that impression.
Okay.
Correct,
so
Jeff?
she needs 23 points to get to 600.
Wow.
That is insane. Nobody else even has 500.
Especially when you consider that she missed half the season with injuries last year.
Right.
It's something that you guys probably didn't know because
Did not
you
know
weren't
that.
following the team. But she did not play until after Christmas.
Oh, wow.
So the streak that she has been on has been nothing short of phenomenal here at the JUCO level. And I don't know what Jacayla's future plans are, Scott, at this point. She's going to let me know, but I would assume that there's going to be the next level of collegiate play in her future somewhere.
That would definitely be awesome to track and follow. You brought up, Brian, you brought up Burris. Not bad that you almost had a 600-200 player with Jacayla, as far as points and rebounds, but then you talk about coming off the bench and then kind of reestablishing herself. Burris led the team with 223 rebounds.
Right.
I mean, that's not easy to do because Jacayla's getting half of them, so she's pretty much getting the other half.
Right, and I mean, when you watch Burris on the court, she's very cerebral. She knows the game. She understands it. And for me, like, watching her was always a pleasure because it seemed like she kind of knew what was unfolding maybe a half a second before a lot of the other players did. And to me, you can't really teach that. That's something that you just utilize. And Coach Walker did a great job with that, putting her in the right spots. And I think it elevates someone like Jacayla Kirk and even her other teammates like that. And so it's a fun team to watch, and I'm not just saying that because I'm there. I've watched a number of the other games, and there's an electricity kind of that's building with this team, and that's going to make it fun again for this postseason run.
Yeah, and even when Jacayla had to miss that one game last week, Drake, you've been able to see them firsthand because you're down there running a camera. You're getting a closer-up looker than we are, and it's just like even with Jacayla out, I mean, they still ran like a well-oiled machine.
It's just like what Brian said earlier, the depth and the connectiveness that they all have. You can have your star player miss a game or two for injuries or anything else, and it's almost like nothing changes. Like, yes, there's a little bit of something changes when the quote-unquote leader of your team has to sit out, but the next man up mentality, next woman up mentality just kicks in, and it's like nothing changes.
Yeah, there's no tomfoolery at all.
Nope, not at all.
Oh, here we go.
All right, let's move over and talk about the men, Ray.
Yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and give it over to you straight up.
All right. So, Jeff, obviously, there was no men's program last year. So you're like us. You're in this boat, getting to experience all this, brand new.
Right.
But you got to see, stars like, Watkins and who's the kid I'm thinking of? Shoots 3-pointers.
Cole Rickerman.
Rickerman,
I
yeah.
was going to say, let's don't tell them. Let's see if they can figure it out.
Give me 30 guesses. I'll get it.
And Kobe Branscombe, also from Festus. So you've got 3 local guys. You've got Gabe Watkins, of course. I'll see Cole Rickerman from Festus, Kobe Branscombe from Festus as well.
Kobe.
And when I say local, we say Jefferson County guys. We have guys from St. Louis, East St. Louis area as well. So if we consider that local as well, but we're talking about hyper local at the moment.
Well, we're talking about people that we've gotten to see as they've moved to that next level.
Right. And I wanted to explain it because I don't want you to be flummoxed. Anyway.
That is a quarter word right there. Flummoxed.
There'll be a kerfuffle before the end of the day.
So this started when we knew the season was coming on, when we knew Coach Walker was coming on, getting kind of a behind-the-scenes look at how he was able to start putting this team together. And can you imagine the challenge of, okay, you've got local guys.
Right.
How am I going to convince somebody who's a freshman to come to a first-year program, never established, or and come and just trust that they'll be able to grow in this program? And even the sophomores that transferred in, maybe they weren't getting a lot of playing time somewhere. Well, why would I come to Hillsborough? So he had to sell and get the buy-in before these kids even came here.
Right.
And I think that's part of the success that they've had this year. I mean, people will look at the record, and I saw a local media person, and they posted a thing about, well, the boys don't have a 500 record this year. Well, did we actually expect a first year? It'd be like in pro sports, your expansion team to come in and rule the conference. No, it's going to take some time to build a program, and the fact that they have a 10-18 record is amazing for a first-year collegiate program, and that should be celebrated. And Coach Walker should be celebrated as well.
He definitely should. I mean, I'm not sure what kind of collegiate accolades that they give the coaches, but especially doing double duty.
Right.
And then, having the season that the ladies had and then getting this team right out of the blocks, 10 wins. I mean, there's programs that are established that don't get double-digit wins.
Well, and to his credit, too, he's got a really good support staff of assistant coaches. On the girls' side, you've got Precious Roberts,
right,
fantastic assistant coach. And really, we don't talk about it, but the third coach is Jacayla Kirk. She is the leader.
Right.
She's traveled around. She's actually seen the players and gone around with Coach Walker to see whom they might try to recruit, men and women. So, yeah, just wanted to add that.
So
I want to cause a
obviously,
kerfuffle.
we already used that. You got to use a new one. All right.
No
so
tomfoolery. There you go.
So they were 10-18 in the conference, or 10-18 overall, 1-4 in the conference. How about Moberly Area Community College coming up and nipping MAC? MAC finished 27-2, 7-2 in the conference. Did not win the conference.
It's absolutely amazing. It's the thing about the Greyhounds, true to their name, they're fast. They've got the speed, and it's funny watching the MAC men play this year. It was mentioned by some very good people who know that Mineral Area men's team could compete at the small D1 school level easily and do a good job. So
right.
They were,
wow.
It was one of those games where, you're going to give it your all as the opponent, but sometimes you just got to step back and go, this is amazing.
Right. This is just a better team.
Exactly.
Sometimes there's
around.
there's no other answer than that. And I mean, seeing them up close, absolutely. I mean, you watch them, a lot of skill. I was surprised at some of the skill that I saw on the floor as far as a junior college level, because some of those players, you're right on, could be playing at a D1 level in a lot of areas. And so, when you look at that, it stands out to me that you only have 2 losses, and yet somehow you found a way not to win the conference in those 2
You
losses.
play almost 30 games. You play one shy of 30 games, lose 2 of them, and come in second. I mean, that's like,
Right.
that's wow.
Right. And again, I think it just speaks to the depth in the Region 16 area. I mean, these teams are not sleeper teams. It's not just, I think there's a high level of recruiting that's going on in this, and so that's why you're seeing some of these records and competitiveness in these teams. And I would throw Coach Walker into the mix to bring it back to Jefferson a little bit on that, because I don't know what his plans are. I hope his plans are to stay right here, because I want to see what he can build with this, because he is a genius in my opinion. Just being able to see him in a year not only work with the ladies, but even what he's been able to do in bringing a team together where all of these have not played, they haven't played together on the floor, and yet you still get 10 wins. To me, that's impressive right there in and of itself.
Yeah, you could easily shrink it all down to one word as far as how CB Walker has been able to, A, do both, guys and girls, and B, have two competitive teams, and that's just the culture that he builds. He's been able to take whatever's worked from the girls' side, take it over to the boys and say, hey, I've got this plan, we're going to lay it out, and it's going to work. And it, to an extent, has worked wonders. I mean, yes, 8 games below 500. Some people would think that's a disappointment.
But I mean, you look at the communicator that he is and the way that he commands presence, and he gets them to understand. And really, if you go back and look at like 2 or 3 of those games, if they make free throws, if they just play with a little bit of poise that they don't necessarily understand yet, that record could almost be 500.
I went and looked today. They lost 5 games by 5 points or less, and 2 of those were by 1 point. So they very easily could have had 15 wins.
And we saw a game that they lost by free throws, and they lost on a buzzer beater.
Yes.
So,
I mean,
easily.
A couple of things go your way in the right scenarios, you got 15 wins if you're lucky.
End up 15 and 13.
That's right, and that's a great year.
Absolutely.
The music says it's time.
Music never lies.
The music never lies. All right, we're going to take
the music would make you lose control.
We're going to take a quick break. Don't let the music let you lose control there. Take a break. We'll be right back. This is Fast Break. Be right back.
Hey, y'all, it's Jeff from Case and Bucks. Thanks for watching the games today. We appreciate all your business all year long. Don't forget, we've got awesome wings. We got amazing burgers. We got salads like you wouldn't believe. Come check us out. We have barbecue on Thursdays. We have Southern Nights on Wednesdays. We've got bingo on Tuesdays. We can't wait to see you all. Thanks a bunch, and we look forward to having a great summer with y'all.
The Jefferson County Tourism Commission invites you to explore the natural beauty, fine dining, parks, wineries and breweries, scenic drives, historic sites, and even a local raceway. All this and so much more. All these things can be found right here in Jefferson County, Missouri. Plan your trip today at visitjeffersoncounty.com, the main source for all things Jefferson County.
Sure I turn all the microphones on this time, so we're all on. There we go. Don't give me that, Jeff. He's acting like he can't hear anything. So we're back for segment 2 here. We're going to talk a little bit about some high school basketball. But before we do, here's our question of the day. If you're on Facebook, please give us an answer on this. What high school team could be our Cinderella? Now, we're talking about more of the large schools this time around because there's only one team left in the small school. Am I correct, Jeff?
As far as the girls, I mean,
Yes.
You're talking about St. Pius.
Girls, and there's no boys left. Well, Herculaneum's still left.
Herculaneum.
They're playing tonight.
Right.
They're playing tonight. So what high school team could be a Cinderella during the playoffs here? And then what high school team could get upset? And we kind of thought we might see 1 or 2 of those already, and kind of have. So, put your comment in Facebook over there, and if I see it over here, we'll give you a little accolades, give you a little shout out. Appreciate that. So, let's turn it back over here to Mr. Scott.
All right, let's not lollygag here. We got to talk about some high school basketball.
Unbelievable.
Getting the head shake over there of approval. So let's start first with the small school girls.
All right. High school basketball.
All right, and obviously the season is done as far as like the regular season, but this part I just kind of wanted, usually we put up, stats and standings to this point, but I kind of want to just kind of go around the table and just talk about some of the fun players we've seen. Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be the standout leaders, but just fun players we got to see at different points this year, and, maybe so-and-so stepped up and had a good game.
Timeout. Rewind.
What?
You asked me, we normally put the standings out. There they are.
Okay.
Can you see them?
I
They're
can
not very
see them.
big. They're not very big, but
As he leans in.
so we have we were talking about not doing this, and I was like, man, I got 15 minutes, so I whipped this up in 15 minutes. So there you go.
And then you save 15% or more.
With Geico. That needs to be one of
New
our
sponsor?
sponsors.
It should
right.
be.
I'm
It
telling
really
you.
should.
By the way, we are at Case and Buck's Grub and Pub. We haven't brought that to very many people's attention here. It is actually packed in here right now. There's a lot of folks in than we normally are used to. So, pretty packed out place. So,
And they're
thanks.
all here to see us.
Yeah, right.
right.
That's exactly what it is. So,
It's our fan base. They're traveling with us.
yeah.
Right.
You got
So
to
there-
do your pageant wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually here to see Drake.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, it's
I
We're like,
wish.
who's the guy who's not wearing a hat in that group? What is with that
Yeah,
guy?
exactly.
getting all
I
kinds of
actually
comments
did my
about
hair
how-
today, so I didn't need
You know,
to wear
in the on the online about how dreamy he is.
All right, there you go. Final standings here for the girls. Small school girls, St. Pius 23-5, 5-0. For the large school, Hillsboro or Hiltonsboro as we call it, 24-2, 8-0 in the conference. On the small school boys side, we could call this, the Breeze Jays instead of the Blue Jays. You like that?
Jeff
The
likes.
Breeze Jays,
Jeff
20,
likes.
22
Very nice.
6, 5-0. And on the large school side, you can't call it Hiltonsboro because the Hilton's girls are on the girls' side. But hey, we could call it very easily. Why not call it Lucaboro? Who knows? Something like that. Luca
Villa
Pool.
Marchetti.
Marchetti Borough. I like that. So there you go.
Villa Marchetti.
17-6 and 7-1 in the large school.
It could be like Suttonboro.
That is
Okay.
true.
That's
I
a
like
good
it.
one.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so going around the table, we'll start with the girls after you got all your pretty stats up there.
He doesn't like any downtime. It's like
I'm like, something
we got to be
shiny.
saying something right
It's
now.
like there's a fair, like, hey, something shiny.
That's right.
squirrel.
Yep.
You could say he doesn't like to be flabbergasted.
Ooh.
Does. I
Well,
feel like
everybody's
there's a
been-
discombobulation factor when that
Goodness.
happens.
Well, we're trying to bamboozle you, and it's not working.
Stop
So.
putting us in a kerfuffle.
We don't want to get all cattywampus here, so let's stick with
Let's get back to
Oh,
it.
boy. Do we finally get on topic, or do we?
No,
keep
we
going?
don't get on topic.
small school girls.
Small school girls.
I
they're
do
real.
think someone that is very underrated as far as the small school girls go. When you look at the St. Pius Lancers, you've obviously got Brooke Blankenship, PJ Kroedinger, the massive 1-2 punch that they are, and how well that they play. But Carly Clubb, she, especially when we were out for the district championship game against Jefferson, it was basically her show that she was running at times. She was out there and contributing in a massive way.
And she's got all these years of no, wait, she doesn't. She's a
right.
freshman.
She's a freshman.
And I mean, she rocks it like she's a senior, man. She controls the court, and she's just everywhere. So especially, I mean, usually if you have a good 1-2 punch like you do with Kroedinger and Blankenship, if one of them are off, the other's usually on. But when you have a third one in the mix as well, it's like, how do you even control that?
And as a freshman coming out, she took the first shot of the game for them. She's fouled shooting a three. Shot didn't go in. Coolly steps to the free throw line, nails all three. And then, a back and forth. She gets it again, scores again to get the first 5 points of the game. Not bad way to start.
Pretty decent, I'd say.
So I talked to Coach Portell prior to the games last week a little bit about Carly Clubb, and he mentioned the fact that at the beginning of the season he wasn't sure that she'd see much of any playing time at all on the varsity.
Wow.
But as the weeks went on and progressed, and what he saw in practice when he inserted her in the games, she, it was one of those situations where she played so well, he couldn't keep her out of the lineup. And it's it's a hard decision when you have to pull somebody else out in that situation. But If we gave out a Rookie of the Year, she would definitely be my Rookie of the Year small school girls. The young lady, and I can't think of her name right now for Grandview, number 5.
Lexi.
But I can't think of her name right now. But she was also very impressive. But Club was someone who really stood out for me as well.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I didn't get to see a lot of the small school. What I saw is really 2 for me. One from the Herculaneum side, Jillian Jarvis really, I mean, I think, if you go and even if you just look at the stat line for her, it speaks to that. But I think even more than that, being able to see her live and in person a couple times from my side, there's something special about her. I don't know what her future plans are, what she continues to want to kind of go down the road. But, I mean, just the ability to shoot, she can create her own shot, was quite impressive for me watching that. And then I would say on the flip side in the small school, and you might be familiar with this, but when you talk about Megan Wood at Jefferson, I thought there were some simple things. For me, I'm always impressed, maybe not so much what shows up on the score sheet, but sometimes just the nitty-gritty, getting down low, grabbing those extra, rebounds, getting in and taking charges, kind of putting yourself in a spot that doesn't always show up in that way, can be that catalyst and can be that spark for a team. And so, those are 2 that kind of just I got to see. I'm on the flip side. I got to see a little bit more of the large girls, and so that's just a very limited view for me. But watching those 2, they do the simple things, some of the foundational, fundamental things that I think sometimes can get lost, especially in high school, because they're still trying to figure those things out.
Sure.
Well, I was going to say it's hard for me. I don't want to appear biased, but yes, as far as the Blue Jays go, Megan Wood,
Helena Lloyd.
Yes.
Helena Lloyd.
Helena Lloyd is, she will be back, and only two of the Blue Jays are graduating, so they'll be right back in the thick of it with St. Pius again next year as well. But Lloyd and also Grace Neals, setting the all-time record for blocks in the season, things that go unnoticed. Obviously, she had a 3-point shot as well, but there's so many things. Olivia Charleville, kid's always got a smile on her face.
Yeah.
She always does anything, regardless of the sport she plays. She is always bringing that energy, and
the
she's
progression
a very heady
for
player.
her from her earlier years to now. I mean, she is just a polished player.
Well, she's had to also play some different roles. I mean, when you add, some of these, a Carly Club and who am I thinking of? A Blankenship. They weren't there last year.
Right.
So you add those 2, and it's just like, holy moly! Now we've got to change some things, and Coach was I'm sure saying, "Come on, let's go." Now I've got some more things to work with. But to me, it's hard for a kid, at any age in high school to want to be able to say, you know what, this is what you did last year. Now we want you to do this, and them to just be able to be okay with that and adjust to it, because she may have to do something again the next year.
Right.
So,
and speaking of Brooke Blankenship, obviously we've seen her play, and we see what she can do on the court. We have to remember she's a sophomore, so the upside is tremendous for Brooke Blankenship. I will say this: there were times that I saw her this year, from a maturity standpoint, she is a sophomore, and because of that, I think as she gets older and matures, and her game on the court will only can benefit from that maturity.
Right.
And she's got the goods now. She's got the package, and I know there's a couple of things that they're going to work with her too. She's working on a little baby hook, and if she has that, she's going to be absolutely deadly.
Right.
Watch out.
Yeah.
Watch out. All right.
So obviously, I wanted to kind of showboat here a little bit and take a few of the front runners. I mean, you mentioned Blankenship. I had no idea about the hype until I got to see her in person, and it was like she has so much length, so much talent and instinct. It's like that's going to be a handful for any team next year to deal with.
Kind of like a Nate Brees, she kind of glides.
Yeah, kind of.
Deceptively fast.
Right. And then also I want to kind of, give a little love to Kat Wakeland. Obviously, her sister graduated last year, but she really stepped into the spotlight this year, and I think she flourished amazingly. And obviously, obviously her running mate Lexi Walker on that list as well.
Right.
But Carly Club and Amia Moore from Herky also, we saw her get injured in a game and then come back in. Tough, gritty player, plays with a lot of heart.
Right.
And a lot of these games you'll be hearing here in a few weeks on the Main Street Sports Show when we select our Main Street Sports standouts of the years, gentlemen. So
Shameless
stay tuned
plug.
for that,
Right.
folks.
It's getting close.
Shameless plug. I like it. I like
I love it.
All right. Let's talk. Should I throw back up there the
Do you have some numbers? Yeah.
yaw? Okay, there we go.
All right. So
Large schools.
we're doing large school girls.
Yeah, let's do large school girls.
Okay. Hillsboro.
Hiltonsboro.
You know,
All right, let's move on.
Now.
24-2. You can't beat that, right? And they're still playing. We've got them tomorrow night.
we know what the Hiltons do for that team, okay?
Right.
And Matlock.
Matlock,
But to me,
definitely.
there's a different straw that stirs the drink on that team, and she's not listed on here.
Is it a?
Can anybody want to guess who I think
Does
that
it-
might be?
Does it sound like scallop?
Scallop.
Like a Bailey Scallop.
Bailey
Yep.
Scallop.
When I watch her away from the ball. I watch how she distributes the ball.
Right.
She is so key to that team, in my opinion. And obviously the Hilton sisters have benefited from her. Matlock. I mean, yes, they are a complete team, so
Right.
they're all wonderful. Don't get me wrong, but as if we're talking about just someone that I like watching play, really was impressed that Bailey Scallop sticks out for me.
Well, breaking news right here. Another one bites the dust here. The Herculaneum Black Cat boys lose to Potosi 99-36 tonight. So that was a little bit of a stomping.
Yeah, breaking news, Potosi's pretty good.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, they are. they are.
Well, I mean, obviously Herky did not have the season that they've had, the glory in past years. But, I mean, obviously Tanner Duncan and those kids, I mean, obviously we'll get to them here in a minute. But, you got to, Dylan, is it Dylan Black?
Dylan Black.
Yep.
I mean, they've got a great nucleus going.
Devin Black.
Yeah.
Correct.
I was like, I think that's his brother.
There's a black kid.
Yeah,
The black
but
kids.
obviously they've got a good nucleus going forward, and they've got a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, I think they're only losing two
buddy.
seniors on
How
their
you doing,
team
man?
this year. So,
I know that guy.
Jeff Fitter jumping in here, saying hi real quick from
but yeah,
Case and Bucks here.
like you said, the Black Cats there, they've got a lot of youth and a lot of depth there. So, only losing two seniors, that you think that they've got some potential to make some noise in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
For sure.
Brian, did you get to see some of the large school girls?
Oh, just a little bit. I mean, that was probably the majority of my basketball year was spent with these ladies. And, I mean, for me, I could list off a number of them, but I think the one that stands out most to me was Addison Smith from Festus, because I can't think of the young lady who got injured halfway through the season for Festus was their main starter.
Riley Moore.
Yes,
Moore.
that's
Riley
it. That's it. And so Riley was kind of leading that charge down low. Addison jumped in and really just kind of stabilized, especially down around the basket on the block for them. Just seeing some of the simple things, again, rebounding, outlet passes, those type of things. And I believe she's a sophomore. She's coming back, and so that was impressive to me. And then a teammate of hers that just, I think, got consistently better throughout the year was Olivia Madden, and another sophomore there. I mean, I got to see her early, and she was, a little Energizer bunny going all over the place, doing a lot of things. But then later in the season, she found her shot. She had developed a perimeter shot and was becoming extremely deadly with that. And so, with both of them being young, not to take anything away from Sierra McDonald, the Skags that are there as well. I mean, that team, I thought, could have made some noise, come postseason time. And I think it just didn't quite pan out the way that they were hoping. But I look forward. They've got a young nucleus. Those are a couple like that. And then I know, Scott, for me and you, there's a young lady that kind of stole my heart early in the season, and I'll throw her name out, and I'll let you talk about her. But that's Maggie Bunton from Windsor.
She's on my list right here. I didn't get to see a ton of the large school. Got to see a lot of Hiltonsboro and Windsor. And then I had Madison Williams on my list, and then I had Maggie Bunton. And I actually Maggie's, I guess, mom hit me up on Facebook or, tagged something on Facebook, and she was like, thank you guys for, it really builds her up. And that kind of goes to the core of what we do at Livestream. We focus on these athletes, and maybe someone who's, emerging, you kind of give them just that little bit of extra boost, something to, a little feather in their cap just to go out there and be like, you know what, I can do this better. and then you just see them, ascend, and that's so satisfying. And I loved watching her play.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching her the first time, and I'm just going, I don't know what happens in practice, but I couldn't imagine why this young lady wasn't in my starting five.
She wasn't a starter.
She was just out there giving it her all. I mean, I think diving for loose balls, leaving skin on the floor numbers of times. I mean, in the mix, and then she'd come right back down and make a tough layup, get fouled. I mean, and it was just amazing to me, and doing it with a smile. Like, she'd get up grinning and like, okay, I'm ready to go back down on the floor.
I know,
lose
you'd
a
be
bit
like,
more
man,
skin.
that had to hurt, and she'd pop right up and like, oof.
Right. Crazy.
To answer your question, no, he didn't see a whole lot of large school girls this
Not at
season.
all.
I don't, by the lack of info he had to give you right there,
Right.
I think, yeah.
Well done, sir.
All right, move on to the small school boys here. Mr. Breeze, and I know it still stings. Jeff's over there still in mourning a little bit. A little bit.
I think he's.
Are you
I
over
think he's
it
a
yet?
little chest puff out a little bit. He's like,
Well, it's tough when you have you're close to these guys. I've known them since they were in 7th grade, and
Right.
they're playing their last basketball game. Some of them are going to play baseball, so I'm going to get to continue to work with them. But yeah, this group has been together. Your Caleb Weiler, Nate Breeze, those kids have been playing organized basketball together since they were 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So, you talk about the relationship teams having the close-knit and knowing where each other is on the court. Those guys definitely had it. But shout out to Kingston. What an incredible team, an
They had a
incredible
great game.
first half they had. My man, Coach Hamilton down there, just does a fantastic job. And it's one of those deals where you're going to lose knowing that you gave it your best. You played really good. And the other team just it was better. You tip your cap.
Yeah.
And I hope that I wish them all the success, Kingston. I hope they move on, because it couldn't happen to a bunch of nicer coaches and kids
Right.
as well. But yeah, we talk about small schools. Obviously, you're going to hear me. I'll let somebody else talk about Breeze and Weiler and
is
Schnitzler.
Schnitzler? Is he a senior?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Enjoyed watching him. I mean, not just in basketball, but I think we got to see him play some baseball and
Yeah.
and football.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're just a really great all-around athlete.
Exactly. Yeah. So I want to talk about John Whitman real quick at St. Pius, someone that I enjoyed watching play. Obviously, he didn't have the same supporting cast around him that the Blue Jays had, Nate Breeze had around him. But unfortunately for John Whitman, he did not get to play in the district game. He was out on concussion protocol.
Oh, man.
And I just want to shout out to him. Great player. Expect great things from him in the future. And hopefully he's fully healed from that and ready to move on.
Yeah. Okay. I'll make the mention real quick of that particular game that we were talking about earlier here with Kingston. I've never seen a game where you start out at a 7-0 run followed by a 22-0 run by the other team. I've never seen that before.
Kingston shot 87% from the floor in
It's
that first half.
unbelievable.
Right.
They couldn't miss.
As Lionel Richie would say, that's outrageous.
Outrageous.
So a couple other names I had on
They
my
had the
list.
Blue Jays bamboozled.
Yeah, they did.
All right, we're just cycling through it here. So I had Cooper Frisk on my list. Really enjoyed watching him play and instigate. I will say that.
He has.
He's definitely
he's very
right.
good at doing that.
He was good at definitely, getting up there and getting that sandpaper thing going on. Devin Black, and obviously, Tanner Duncan. Obviously, Mama Duncan's been, part of the live stream family, off and on.
Happy
But-
birthday, Mom Duncan, by the way.
Yeah, I saw Mama Duncan after the game. What day was that? Tuesday. Yeah. And Brian and I popped into Texas Roadhouse, and she was sitting there, and I wasn't paying attention to her because I was just like, after a game, I'm trying to decompress and just leave me alone. I just want to eat, type thing.
Was she up on the saddle?
No, she
Oh.
wasn't. But she told me, she's like, don't tell them it's my birthday. So, but
Dude.
happy birthday, Mama Duncan.
Yep. And obviously Tanner Duncan, what is he, a sophomore?
He is.
Yes.
And seen him get minutes last year, and then this year basically assuming, the Gabe Watkins leadership role. Kid's got such a high ceiling.
Yep.
Yeah, Tanner's been fun to watch. And it's like his just like his brother, his older brother was, and he's a kid that when he's in the game, he changes what the opponents do.
Right.
He makes everybody around him better, and another kid with a real high ceiling, guys.
Oh, by the way, his brother is an awesome cornhole player.
Oh, yeah.
Because my Tuesday night league, Jordan Duncan is in there, and you don't want to match.
Don't bet against him.
No,
Probably good hand-eye coordination.
a little bit.
It's kind of like Brian waits to go pick up for golf. Brian's that good. I'm sure Tanner's that good for cornhole.
No, Jordan.
That's what I meant.
Yep. Okay.
Jordan.
So, large school boys,
Large school boys, let's go to it.
let's cash in here.
The Borough.
Let's cash in.
Well, we'll talk about the Borough before we talk about Noah Cash Barnes.
Oh, okay.
So go ahead.
All right.
Okay.
So, what do you got?
Luca Poole.
Luca Poole.
Dominic Sutton.
The reigning area champions, Hillsborough Hawks in football. Obviously, they carried that momentum over into basketball season, and they got to be tired. Everybody tired, Jeff?
Some of them.
They're young people. Those guys don't get tired. Come on. You
Turn
probably
it
get 2
around.
hours
It's
of sleep
baseball
tonight
season in
and
2 weeks.
Coach Suharski, I'm sure, has something to keep them all energized.
Right?
They're young.
Yeah.
They're young.
A Monster and some Sour Patch Kids do wonders for a teenager, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that's going to do. That sounds like a crash at some point.
Well, as long as you do it right before the game,
Right.
you crash afterwards. Then you get a good night's sleep, and you're good to go for the next day.
And I see
Okay.
And that's
so
how that works when you're that
Dominic
age.
Sutton, Luca Poole
some
from
kid named
Hillsborough.
Robinson, I believe is his
Robinson,
name.
throw him in there. Marchetti.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of weapons right there. That's a lot of beef.
Yeah, I mean, that's just when you look for pound, their roster, and pound for pound is probably not the right word, wrong sport. But if you look at them up and down, they probably got the best starting 5 overall, and they were definitely worthy of the conference championship. But I also want a big shout out to Hayden Bates, sort of the do everything that he could for Festus this year. Carter Roth from the outside, but as many people have heard me say already, I am president of the Noah Barnes fan club from Windsor, so I'll just leave it at that. The young man has so much talent, vision, and skill on the court. I wish he was a foot taller. He probably wishes he was a foot taller and maybe a little stronger, but that doesn't stop him from really controlling the game on offense and defense for the Owls.
Agreed.
Yeah, you pretty much hit on everything I was going to touch on, too. The only thing I would add is going back to Festus, there's a third, Drew Johnson, especially from the outside. You look at it statistically, too. I mean, he's like 87, 86% from the free throw line as well.
Right.
So when you have that trio between Drew Johnson, Carter Roth, Hayden Bates, that's electric right there.
We ought to give an award for the best free throw shooters in each class every year, because how many games do we go to, guys, and we see that the free throw shooting, even at the collegiate level, is lacking?
Right.
So, yeah, that's like one of my pet peeves. So, kudos to Mr. Johnson.
Make your free throws, good things happen.
Yeah. I mean, and for me, I mean, it's a lot of the staple. I think the one, if I had to really kind of draw out, would have been Hayden Bates. Seeing him in person, just gritty, grindy. I mean, you said it best, Jeff. He just did everything for that team. Whether they needed a spark in shooting, he would step up to the challenge. If he needed to go down on the block, kind of get in the mix a little bit, get some rebounds. If he had to guard the best offensive player from the other team, that's what he was going to do. And he just said, I accept any challenge that comes at me. And so that was impressive. Seeing Hillsborough play quite a bit as well there on that side. That whole core is good. I love Nick Marchetti. I just love his game. Again, there's a lot that he does that doesn't necessarily get shown up on the stat sheet for that team.
Exactly.
But he is a driving force for them. And if they're going to continue to go deep, he's really going to be a catalyst for that and not on, the number sheet. It's going to be a lot of those gritty plays where he's getting his hand on the ball that nobody sees. Somebody's cutting down the lane. He's poking it loose, getting in the mix, taking those charges,
Kind
those
of that
type
Maggie
of things.
Button roll.
Absolutely.
There you go.
And you just mentioned two great multi-sport athletes as well, and Hayden Bates, tremendous all-around athlete, and Marchetti as well.
Right.
Great soccer player and great football field goal kicker as well. So.
Did we go this entire segment and not talk about Nate Denby?
We didn't. Nate Denby's, 2 years removed from high school?
More than that now.
3, yeah.
Drive 4.
We miss you, Nate.
We
Nate's
did.
getting
Shout
married.
out to Nate Denby.
Nate's getting married. He's going to mage that Paige Fowler gal.
Mr. Paige Fowler.
Yeah.
That's got a nice ring
Something
to
like
it.
that.
That's kind of like
Nate
Mr.
was
Taylor
down
Swift.
on the border with our National Guard helping secure the border.
How about that?
Awesome.
Kudos to you, Nate
Yes.
Denby. All right. I think we're done talking about the final standings and this particular.
Obviously, we could go,
Sure.
on and on and on. Jeff's got, I'm sure he's got volumes about,
I have a plethora of knowledge and
Got an
information.
encyclopedia there.
and
on
that's
his-
no
on his
malarkey. I
laptop.
mean, he
That's
knows
no
all
malarkey.
that
Is that on the
backwards
list?
and forward.
Plethora?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
And don't forget, we're working on putting together in the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. It'll be our crossover show, the fast break crossing over to what is that? What's that name of that place again? Oh, Main Street Sports. We haven't done a Main Street Sports in forever, it seems like, Jeff. But we'll do the Main Street Sports standouts, and we will honor those, all drawn up by us truly here, giving out the accolades. It won't be your coaches. It won't be your peers. It won't be anybody else outside of Livestream STL. I'll do that again. So,
Very sensitive.
so sensitive.
And as this year is an added bonus, all 4 of our Main Street Sports standouts will be getting a brand new car. It will be for a Hot Wheels. But it'll be a brand new car.
About to say.
It's a voucher for a Hot Wheels at Walmart. Okay, I love it. Love that. All right, let's take a break real quick, and we will be back with segment 3. Oh, you know what? No, we can't do that. We can't do that because we have got to
Pick and roll.
pick and roll first. I almost forgot. It's pick and roll time. And so, let me pull it up here real quick. It's the pick and roll time. It's not Ask the Professor.
Where'd you get
It's-
this producer?
Where is this guy?
He's so green.
I know.
I am. I feel so green today. So there you go.
Drake,
it's
you
our
wanna go over there and help
it's
him a
our
little bit?
it's our pick and roll time, and here it is. The pick and roll.
It's broken.
We broke it again.
We broke the internet.
We broke it. So anyway, we're back, and it's our pick and roll time, and we have Coach Saharsky from the Hillsboro Hawks. It is now time for our pick and roll segment here. We've got Coach Brian Saharsky from the Hillsboro Hawks with us today. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Awesome, awesome. Coach Saharsky, it's been a tremendous year for Hillsboro athletics over several categories for the boys and girls alike. Can you pick out some highlights for you that stand out this school season, maybe especially for the basketball teams?
I think that for the basketball team, most of our success this year has been very fun to see us grow as a team because we did lose a couple of key components from last year's team, and to see the difficulty that we had at the beginning of the season as far as we just had a lot of kids who played football and who had that extended season. That meant that a lot of our kids who we were relying on early on had to step up really fast, like our sophomores, and they did a great job. And I think that just seeing how our kids got through that little bit of the beginning of the season, I won't call it adversity because it wasn't adversity. I was happy to jump right into the Steig Horse tournament and have, what I think is a successful tournament. That was a positive for us. Of course, the first game against Festus where we beat them in overtime, that's always a highlight for our kids. But the Christmas tournament down at Park Hill Central, all that stuff is just things that these kids will hopefully remember for a long time. And to pick highlights, I'm sure that each one of them has individual highlights from in any part of our season. We got to take a trip to Columbia to play a good Rockbridge school, and seeing those kids, have fun on that trip was fun.
Awesome.
But overall, I think there's a lot of highlights from this year.
Great. Yeah, great. Lots of great highlights there, I think. With the cat out of the bag now, we broke the news a few days ago here. DJ Hardy coming in to take your position as you'll move up to the athletic director. So DJ Hardy's set to take over the boys basketball program. Are you pulling out of all the coaching stops to prolong this year's wave of success going and keep that basketball coach's hat on for as long as possible?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd hope I'd do that every year because I don't want the season to ever end for our kids unless it ends with a state championship. Last year I thought we had a pretty good team, and we ran into a very good Sykeston team in our district. And the same thing this year. Our district's a pretty tough district, and when it comes down to it, I try to put our kids in a successful position for every game that we play, whether that be the first game of the year or the last game of the year. I try to, coach them to their strengths and try to avoid our weaknesses. With that said, we're working on a few things that we needed to improve throughout the season to get ready for our first game against Poplar Bluff on Thursday. And I'm, pulling out all the stops, absolutely, because I don't want this season to end. I never do. I don't think any coach really does, because it's fun with each group of kids. It's a different group, and you have a lot of fun with them. So it's tough every time this year because you do realize that it's coming to an end pretty soon, regardless of what you have, success or not. So
yeah, I agree with you on that. Each season is essentially its own chapter. New student athletes will arrive every year. Naturally, you are graduating 6 seniors this year, and some prominent names at that. For this group of seniors, how will this chapter be stored in your heart and mind?
Well, I got to coach these guys all the way up through the ranks, and I got to see them as freshmen and coming in and having success as a group of freshmen. We kept them together because we thought that was the best way to go with them. We thought they were going to be a really successful group. They had a good, successful junior high seasons when they were in 7th and 8th grade. And, seeing them stay together as freshmen, then some of them played some varsity as sophomores, and then the rest of them played JV, and they continued that success, and they had some highlights along the way. But overall, it's been a really good, solid group of seniors, I think, in all of our sports. Our girls' side of things, our seniors have led the way there, and softball and basketball. And whenever you have senior leadership that graduates, it's always tough to replace. And I just think that we have a lot of great kids, not just athletes, and they're going to be missed.
Yeah, I agree. Coaching, obviously, it's more than wins and losses. All coaches know that. It's about being a role model and leader for these students who happen to be athletes. As this year's team goes down the home stretch, what message are you trying to imprint on them for when the season is done and the summer and beyond is upon them?
Well, as I've taken over the head coaching responsibilities here, since I've always wanted to be a team that plays with tremendous character on and off the court. I want our kids we have a little motto that we try to live by. It's called Inside Out. And I actually took this from another coach at the collegiate level. And he said he wants his program, which is what I want our program, to reflect what we do inside the gym to the outside world when we play our games. We want to reflect the fact that our kids are decent kids. They're good competitors, but they're not doing anything to really, be showy or anything like that. They're just playing the game and having fun doing it, and showing the rest of the outside world that that's what we do every day in practice, because that's what people don't get to see. They don't get to see the hard work these kids put in during practice. And, that inside out motto is what I've tried to incorporate here, and hopefully that's what they'll take away from it. That, you want what you do to be projected to the outside world, no matter what that is, in basketball, in life. So that's the main thing that I want our kids to take away.
Absolutely. Great answer there. Got a bonus question for you. This is just for free and fun here. As a bonus, if you had to pick players for a 2-on-2 pickup game to go against each other, whom would you enjoy watching compete for bragging rights from your team?
That might be the most challenging question I've ever had, because we have kids who love to compete, and they love to compete against each other. And sometimes that competitiveness really comes out in practice, and almost sometimes in a negative fashion. Mm-hmm. And they really love to compete. I guess if I had to answer 2-on-2, oh man, I would have to say, I'd probably have to say some of our kids who like to get into each other a little bit. I'd probably have Nick Marchetti and Keenan Drury play Dom Sutton and Greg Robinson, just because they're the ones who talk the most. I mean, I'd probably extend it to a 3-on-3 and incorporate Luca Poole and Preston Brown and a couple other guys, because I mean, they're just a competitive group of kids. They could be doing, whatever. They're eating chicken McNuggets at McDonald's. They'll probably have a race on who can eat them the fastest. So, but that would be some very interesting games if they played 2-on-2 or 3-on-3.
Well, there you go. There you go. Well, we appreciate your time, Coach, and good luck to you the rest of the way here.
Thank you.
That's Coach Brian Saharski from the Hillsboro Hawks.
Hey, y'all, it's Jeff from Case and Bucks. Thanks for watching the games today. We appreciate all your business all year long. Don't forget, we've got awesome wings, we got amazing burgers, we got salads like you wouldn't believe. Come check us out. We have barbecue on Thursdays, we have Southern Nights on Wednesdays, we've got bingo on Tuesdays. We can't wait to see you all. Thanks a bunch, and we look forward to having a great summer with y'all.
And we're back here for our final segment. And this is our Ask the Professor segment, where we normally would call up or talk to or ask the professor, Lee Richardson. But Lee,
I would like to say,
yeah, go ahead.
That, want to give a shout out to Lee. He's out in Vegas celebrating his 25th wedding anniversary with
Very nicely
his
done.
wife, Amy.
Congratulations.
Yes.
So obviously he can't be here, today, but we do have someone pinch hitting in his place.
We do have a pinch hitter, and as I roll out of here real quick, our pinch hitter today, we're going with rookie coach, and it's talking a little bit more about like feeder teams and things like that. So we have none other than, let me get it up here real quick, Coach DJ Hardy from the DeSoto Dragons for our Ask the Professor segment. Here it is. Hey, it is now time for our Ask the Professor segment, and today we've got Coach DJ Hardy from the DeSoto Dragons coming in. How you doing, Coach?
Good. How are you?
Awesome. Well, we give you these really interesting questions here for the Ask the Professor, and so these are all going to be kind of geared a little bit towards feeder programs, and our first question is like this. In the feeder program system or switching to a new school, sometimes you assume an established group of players with certain fundamentals and play schemes in place. First question is, how do you mesh their existing foundation with your vision for the program?
Well, I mean, for the group you're taking over, obviously they're going to have some things that they were successful with before. So you definitely want to try to utilize those and build upon those, but then gradually kind of working in, your vision, what you want to do, your go-to offense, defense, everything like that. And then through the youth programs and the feeder system that is hopefully established, or maybe you have to establish it, starting to put in what you want, making sure you get quality coaches that are willing to do what you want done. But a lot of that goes into, you got to make sure you give them the resources to do those things. You can't just say, I want you to play man-to-man defense and not give them the resources or the tools to be successful. So you got to make sure that you have a lot of hands-on, especially early on when you're trying to build your feeder system. And then if it's already established, just kind of building upon what they've already used or done, and just try to make it as good as you can.
Excellent. Great answer. Appreciate that. Attitude, body language, and eye contact show a coach that a player is buying into the team goals. Here's the question. What are some other verbal or nonverbal qualities do you look in for in developing players?
I think the biggest thing is when they start communicating using your terms. Like defensively, for example, We're big on, we call it sprinting to help, jumping the ball, different things like that. When you start hearing them on the sidelines when they're not in, communicating that stuff to their teammates or saying it while they're on the floor, those are big things for me to know that they're bought into and they understand what we're trying to do. And then another thing would just be, having energy every day in practice, clapping, yelling in a controlled manner. Sometimes it's a little out of control. But just, and, high fives, I talk about touches a lot, just making sure that they're being good teammates and stuff like that. And then the last thing would be, how committed are they to staying after practice, working on their game? How committed are they to film? We try to get our players to watch at least an hour of film per game, for example. So if they're committing to those things, that really tells me that they're bought into what we're trying to do.
Communication is the key, right, Coach?
Right.
There we go. Question number 3. Over the years, our coach-player dynamic has changed and evolved. So let me start all over. I'll do it again. Over the years, the coach-player dynamic has changed and evolved with limitations on time, interactions, and rule revisions. How can a player and coach maximize their non-game time together for greatest benefit to the player, coach, and the team?
I think that's a really good question because obviously we're so limited on the time we get with them. And then when we do get that time, we're focused on, how can we make them the best basketball player, best team that we can have. So I think first, it's great if you can just find common ground that you can just kind of, just talk to them with, try to connect with them, whether it's, pro sports or hunting, fishing, whatever they like. You can see them in the hallway, talk to them. It just helps build the relationship, hopefully build some trust in one another. And then anytime you can do any sort of team bonding, whether it's a 2K tournament or, take them out bowling or something like that, I think those are great. I know when we took our team to Memphis this year, that was a great experience for us. We really got a lot closer as a team. We really started to play quite a bit better after that experience. And then the last thing I would say is just in film, you can comment back and forth on huddle. So you can kind of tell them what you're seeing and they can respond back to you. We do different things like post-game reflections where they can, tell us what they're seeing, what they're feeling, and no one else sees that. So we kind of have a basis to go into practice and we understand, where their mind's at, what they think and see. So it's just always good to have that transparency between your players.
Great answer, Coach. I appreciate that. Last question here. We're going to let you go. As skills go, ball handling, passing, and free throws are always critical. Besides hands-on practicing, how can players improve these areas? Do they watch video footage of themselves, play more pickup games, or something else?
I would say film is probably the most important thing for me. Not only watching yourself, but just watching good players. I think as far as playing within a system and a team, I think college is great to watch. All those guys are, they have to be bought into their system. And I think the ball moves a lot more and it's just more maybe structured basketball as compared to the NBA. And then in the NBA, you're watching guys recognize mismatches. How do they attack those mismatches? They're so good at playing in space and different types of finishes and stuff. I think they're great to watch. So I'd say film for sure. And then other than that, just continued athletic growth. I mean, there's no greater equalizer than having a bunch of guys that are really athletic, able to fly around the floor. And then you can always teach those guys basketball. It's a lot harder to improve their athleticism while you're trying to coach them basketball too in the middle of the season.
Awesome. Well, Coach, we appreciate the time. Thank you so much for being a part of our Ask the Professor segment here, and good luck to you the rest of the season here.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
That's DJ Hardy from the DeSoto Dragons. We are live. Hold on 1 minute. I have a customer right next to me here, so I was asking, we're live, I can't talk to you right now. So here we are. We've got our final segment here, and our final segment is our player of the week. So Should be fun. That was a great segment there from DJ Hardy, by the way. So, Player of the Week this week is Carly Clubb, and this is her interview just after the district championship.
And welcome back here to Jefferson High School. We are with the APB Storage. Is that right? Yeah, APB Storage Player of the Game post-game show. Is it Carly Clubb?
It is.
Okay, because I saw it and I saw like the EI at the end, and I'm like, it's going to be Carly or something.
Everybody messes it up.
So we're here with the freshman. I unofficially had you with 13 points, 4 steals, and 4 assists. That sound ballpark?
Yeah.
So walk us through that opening sequence. You guys have the ball. You shoot a 3. You get fouled. You coolly step to the free throw line, nail all 3 free throws, and then immediately – there's a transition. You get the ball back. You put it in. First 5 points of the game. Not bad for a freshman.
Yeah. I really just try to keep the energy high and make sure all of my team has their heads up. And, I just kind of let the game come to me, and I try to zone out all the crowd and just keep my cool.
Okay. You guys played with a poise, and for lack of a better word, you guys played a pestering defense. Speak to what your defense means to your offense.
We've really stuck with our 1-3-1, kind of trying different things throughout it, and I think that's really the turning point in the transition to our offense. We've tried like other types of defenses, but I think sticking to the 1-3-1 really is what's helping us win.
That seems to be your signature. So once you guys had the big lead in the first quarter, second quarter was kind of a little back and forth, but you guys still held the momentum. What was the talk at halftime?
Talk at halftime was we're up, don't force anything, just keep the momentum high, don't let them get any breaths of fresh air. And yeah, just keep your head up and don't force any shots and only take open ones and keep your cool and just try to get the first few points and put it away.
Awesome. So this was your 9th win in a row. Obviously, you guys, we'll look forward, but tonight you guys can enjoy this. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to? The camera's right there, and you are our Gordon Stoplight Player of the Game, and you get the victory spoils.
Oh, thank you. I want to give a shout out to Brooke Blankenship and PJ Krodinger. They're really the turning points in our offense and defense, and of course Coach Portell, and yeah.
And one more thing before we let you go here. How about getting the seniors in and getting them some minutes and a couple of baskets there at the end?
Yes, that was great. Really and we got some of our JV players in at the end to really get them some minutes and get them ready for next year.
Awesome. That is Carly Clubb, our player of the game, and this has been Courtside Basketball on Livestream STL. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will see you down the road.
Carly Clubb, great interview here, and we're going to open up your microphones here, guys, and as we wrap things up, Jeff has something special he wants to talk about here real quick, so I'm going to turn it over to Jeffrey.
Well, before I get to that real quick, Carly Clubb, delightful young lady, great interview there by Scott after that game when they won the district championship. Number 2, we heard Carly Clubb there talk about her teammate PJ Krodinger, and that's somebody we failed to mention, but obviously PJ, tremendous part of that St. Pius team. Just high IQ, high energy, great on offense, great on defense. She's just, I don't know. I don't have the superlatives to offer her. I know that wasn't on the list.
That wasn't on the list.
But
I had to look. I'm like,
you spoiled it. They weren't supposed to know there was a list.
Did we get everything on the list, by the way?
I think we missed like one.
But
I'm calling an audible here, gentlemen.
Before we skedaddle.
We're going to call it an Omaha. And
Don't
I want to throw this
nincompoop.
out to the panel.
Right, now the list is complete.
Basketball, obviously, we've got some postseason accolades that are coming up. You're going to see all conference players being voted for, all district, all region, all of that good stuff, which is voted on by, coaches, administrators, whomever, panel of esteemed experts. We'll have our own Main Street sports standouts with our panel of esteemed experts. You'll also have Coach of the Year, a small conference, Coach of the Year, large conference, all of the categories that we talked about tonight. Now, I've been doing this for a while. What is more important in your mind? What what does it take to be a coach of the year? Does it take doing the most with less talent, or the biggest improvement from one year to another, or is it just winning championships and having great records, winning conferences, winning district titles? Because I know how the voting's going to go, but I want to hear your guys' opinion. Start with Ray.
You might be surprised, though. You talk about that as far as, because we know the ADs and the coaches kind of get together for the JCAA all districts and things like that, and they all play a poker game probably or whatever. No, I'm just kidding. No. So the
Go Fish.
Go Fish. Yeah, more like Go Fish. You might be surprised. I mean,
What is your opinion, Ray?
Do I have one for each? Are you wanting to do just one?
No, I'm just asking you. What do you think is the most important criteria?
To me, I think the most important part, and it has to play a huge part into it, is the perseverance throughout the season. We were talking about DJ taking over here at Hillsborough next year. No, that's next year. Is he getting the keys to a Bentley? Heck yeah, he is. Okay, we talked about that just a little bit. So you've got that going on a little bit to the point to where, you kind of take that kind of in consideration and stuff like that. But DJ did a great job with his team this year. Did they win a bunch of games? No. But I think the perseverance is the most important part about this whole thing. And, I think to me that outweighs that to me is the straw that stirs the drink, so to speak. And if you're not being pushed by much perseverance, it's hard for me to say, well, you're just cruising over all these people, and then all of a sudden maybe you get run over at the end of the season. Well, okay, that's your perseverance.
Now, having said that, do you think that that's how the voting's going to go?
Absolutely not.
All right. Scott, your opinion?
I want to give a shout out first to Coach Winkler, who's watching the show. He's asking me tomorrow night.
On, we broke it.
Let's go play with him.
Jeff broke it again. Hold on. Jeff broke it. We're back.
And the internet is unbroken.
Tim Winkler broke it.
Yes. But, yes, I'd give a shout out to Coach Winkler. But I kind of go with, this is kind of cheating a little bit, but because he's not at the high school level. But look at Coach Walker. I mean, you've got to get someone who gets you on his side to see his vision. And you may not have the most talented squad, but you get every drop of talent pulling in the same direction. It may not work every night, but you at least get them to see the concept and see the big picture. That's what I would look for.
Cap, your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a mix. I mean, obviously, when you're successful and you win, it's going to speak to that. But for me, especially when you're talking about the high school level in that regard, I'm looking at the development of players. I'm looking at what you're doing with these student athletes, because at the end of the day, when it comes down to it from the high school side of things, you're preparing them for what's next. And I'm not just talking athletics, it's beyond that. And so, again, credit to CB Walker, who I've seen up close, and that, you're looking for somebody that can motivate. You're looking for somebody that can, to your point, Scott, get the best out of these athletes that they can. But in the process, they're also teaching them how to play the game right, how to be more than just a basketball player.
And you're not signing them to a 5-8 year contract.
Right.
You've got a very short window to get it.
And you're not recruiting them either.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, this is who you have, and
unless
just and that's my thing. I mean, yes, obviously winning, I think, is twofold. One, it can mask a lot of things that you're not doing well if you have the talent. But if you are a good coach, you can take what I would call mediocre talent at some point and still create winning culture. And that's what I'm looking for, more than just maybe having these highlight rosters. I think every once in a while you will see a roster come together where it is, you've got both the athleticism, the talent.
Chemistry over pedigree.
Right. I agree. Good words.
Ooh. Very nicely done.
Way to use your words.
Do you think that's how the voting's going to go?
No, it's just not how voting goes in our culture in general on a lot of things.
Do you think that's how the voting's going to go? How you expressed yourself?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe a very tiny portion of it, but I think the majority is going to be they're at the top. That's what everybody's looking at.
All right, we saved the best for last here.
Oh, that's pressure.
The mustachioed one.
My goodness. I think for me, maybe not even if you're looking at Coach of the Year, although I do think it applies as well. Just at being as a coach overall, it comes down to one word for me, and that's adaptability. I mean, I'm going to go a little bit outside of, high school for us. Look at Nick Saban for Alabama the last few years. Especially this past season, he had arguably a much worse college football team than teams that he's won national championships with. But he's a good coach that can win national championships. He's one of the best to ever do it. But some people would argue that this last season that he coached was his best coaching job he'd ever done, because the difference between the beginning and the end of the season are two totally different Alabama teams. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's all situational. I think if you have a good team, kind of similar to the Blue Jays this year, they got off to a slow start, but then they got hot and stayed hot all the way until they ended up losing to Kingston, unfortunately. But that was just because, like we mentioned earlier, like you got guys like Breeze and Weiler who have played since they were 7. So how good, do you just need to be kind of a manager of situations as a coach in there because you've got kids that have played together so often they kind of know what they're doing anyway? Or do you look at, say, Herculaneum, who's got a lot of younger talent, and they need to kind of get developed a little bit more or kind of be a lot more hands-on than, say, at Jefferson this past year. So I think if you have, kind of like what Cap said, if you got multiple ways to coach and be adaptable from year to year, that's a good coach in my opinion.
Great answer. And so that my follow-up question is that how you think the voting is going to go?
I'll beat you to it.
No.
And I'm glad that the way you phrased your question made me think of Coach Jarvis and the job that he did at Herky for the boys this year, given what he had to work with. I think you all know exactly what my opinion is on this already because I'm the one that posed the question. I would say this. It's really easy to look at the overall record, who wins your conference, who wins your district, and put that vote on the piece of paper. And that way everybody gets to slap each other on the back and congratulate themselves. I would ask and I would hope that the folks in charge of voting would dig a little deeper and look at some of the coaches who did the best with what they had, who are coaching the right way for the right reasons, and maybe who have had the biggest improvement. Do I think that'll happen? No, but I can always hope and pray. Scotty, over to you.
Top that.
I got.
That was my contribution to the show.
And he broke the internet twice in the same segment. Let me get it back up here real quick. Broke the internet twice.
We're like
in the
Jeff
same
Dunham.
segment.
You moved
Here's
too far.
Here's the funny thing. Tim Winkler posted, hey, Beyonce couldn't even break the internet. We did it twice. So there you go. Oh, good stuff for us. And thanks again for popping in there, Tim. We appreciate that as well. So, hey, this is our last fast break as we cross things over to Main Street Sports. So, Scotty.
Careful crossing the road over to Main Street.
We have a symbolic way of doing that, right?
Is that right?
Yep, we're passing the torch here.
Yeah, put the camera on.
Okay, there it is. Okay, there the passing of the torch.
The baton has been passed.
Okay, there it is. He's got it.
Which really means nothing other than the title of the show because I want all these guys back on the same show anyway.
Okay,
so.
that's okay.
No expense.
All right.
That's right.
Did you sign this for me?
There you go. Can you autograph that straw? I like it.
That's some big money right there you can make.
That wraps up things for us here as we get out of here. Thanks again for being with us again. And again, we'll get out on our Facebook page when we decide to do the Main Street Sports Standout Show. Jeff and I and all of us, we're putting together the, I guess it's team one, first team, second team, maybe
no honorables.
No honorables. That's right. We forgot to do that. We don't do the honorables.
Right.
And then we'll have in the players of the year too.
Exactly.
We'll have them in an undisclosed location at this point because we haven't found out where we're going to have it at yet.
In a bunker somewhere in Jefferson County.
Yeah, there you go. For Ray. We did it. We broke it. We broke it again. Hold on. All right, we back again.
I need some
There
trash
it's back.
wings, please.
There it's back. We need some trash wings here at Case and Bucks. Thanks again, Case and Bucks, for being with us and letting us be. We're a wonderful time. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Have a great night.
Man, what a way to end the show.
What a way to end, going out on top. Right. Thanks for watching today's broadcast. Any unauthorized use of this broadcast without the express written consent of Livestream STL is strictly prohibited.